Hey guys, Fatty here. To your left is the Fatty that was at the tail end of a 24-hour stream, and to your right is me editing this after being already awake at this point for 30-something hours. So bear with me, I will try to be as coherent as possible. What you're seeing on your screen right now, I guess this side right here, right, is the brand new solo dungeon. So this dungeon can be very annoying, but it is pretty worth it. Now, why would you want to do it more than once if it is an annoying thing to do? Because it does have a chance to drop your tier 2 weapons, regardless if you want to use that for yourself or in the very early stages where everything can get a little bit more expensive. And if you get the tier 2 weapons as a drop from here, you have a chance to sell it for a premium. Prime example would be one of our guild members managed to get the Chief Executor, which is now called like Quaking Blade, which is your great sword for your Gaia Crash, sold for about 2,500 Lucent, give or take. So right now is probably the prime time to do this while you can, because there are people, because the fact that the dungeon can get annoying, but it is simple, it is easy, it's just a bit annoying, is that there will be people who might not want to do it, might not want to go through it and just buy the lithograph for the tier 2 equipment that they need. So that's one of the reasons why you want to do it, especially if you're free to play, especially if you're trying to get Lucent for the new battle pass, which has incredibly awesome looking skins and maybe the new skins that are coming out. This right here is the start of the solo dungeon. You can choose between movement speed, health, and stamina. It's completely up to you. I recommend going health, especially if you're going to do what I'm about to do here, which is essentially try to gather as many mobs as I can. Now, do take note that this is a tier 3 dungeon, so it's going to be a little harder. If you find the difficulty a little bit too hard, you can always scale it down to around a tier 0. Right? All you really have to do in this stage is try to kill them as soon as you can. You don't have to mob them up like I do here. You can take your time if you want to. The only other thing about this dungeon, however, is that every time you kill a bunch of them, there will be evil spirits, like little yellow orbs that are spawning. You want to make sure you kill those, because if those yellow orbs reach the middle, the pillar at the middle, what's going to happen is it's going to have a mechanic where you have to Q roll it or Q dodge it or dodge roll it in order to mitigate the damage completely. Otherwise, it's gonna hurt, and it's very likely that it will end up killing you. Now, you'll see on the screen here, you see that yellow light there. That is actually something that's targetable. That is the evil spirit. It's gonna try to go into the middle here. What you want to do is very squishy, by the way, so you can actually kill it with, if you're DPS, probably in one shot. If you're a tank like me, maybe a couple shots, right? But you just don't want it to go to the middle, right? And that's basically the gist of the first part of this dungeon. Before you start the first boss, you get to choose again whether you want health, stamina, or movement speed. If you are a DPS, you probably have movement speed in your build already. You don't need the movement speed. Get the health, because you might hurt a little bit in this one. If you're a tank, however, like me, you might want to take the movement speed. You have sustain, you have the tankiness, you can take a lot of the damage from the totems in this fight. So that's why you might want to go movement speed, and I'll show you in a little bit why that's important. So if you're a DPS and you're having a little bit of trouble, you might want to bring in something that has a little bit more sustain, whether it's bow with the healing touch, or maybe you want to bring in a wand for some swift healing. Just anything that can sustain you while you're doing this dungeon so you don't die randomly. But once you have this mastered, if you're a god gamer, you could go full on DPS and you will have zero issues with this dungeon. With that said, let me go ahead and play this for you so I can explain the mechanics. They're very simple, very annoying, mostly because the boss is very tanky. But I mean, to be fair, this is content that came out with T2, with Talandre. So the reason why it might take a little bit long for tanks, egregiously long for tanks, or some tanks rather, is because it might get a lot easier, a lot faster to do once you actually have your tier 2 weapon, once you actually have it at plus 12, whereas like right now, I'm doing this with tier 1 weapons. So let's go ahead and play here. You can see me get the movement speed. I'm actually using a scuff build here. Okay, so the first thing to note about this boss is once you start attacking him, he has only basically like one phase really that he does, right? It's just the one simple pattern that keeps repeating, and there really isn't any changes to it except for like really minute ones with the totems that I'm going to tell you about later. So once you hit the boss, he will spawn a totem in a random location. That is the only random totem that he is going to spawn. The following totems that spawn will spawn exactly where you are. So right on top of you. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that they get lined up together. And I'll show you why in a little bit here. So here you can see, I'll mute this so you don't have to hear my my tired voice over there. So you see he spawned a random totem over here. So you can see me now, right now. My positioning is, at this point, I'm lining myself up with this totem. So that it's kind of like a straight line, right? There's very little deviation and it's a straight line. And you'll find out here soon enough, right? There you go. Spawns right on top of me. His first teleport is he's going to do a charge attack. All you have to do is Q block that one. He does it as soon as he's done with the second totem. It's very, very, very predictable. It never changes, right? So as soon as he's done that, you just want to kind of like DPS from afar here. This is a little bit harder for melee because you're going to have to be a little bit more up close. You might take a little bit more damage, but the hitbox on these are pretty small, so you can actually kind of skirt around the edges a little bit here. It's just so you're not deviating too much from this line that you're trying to make, right? So you're going to DPS from afar here. Now this little charge up that he does, you kind of have to treat it like you're playing Osu, right? Once that red reaches the middle, right where the boss is, you want to jump right away. Otherwise, if you try to jump when it's already going outwards, trying to dodge the visual of the skill, you will most likely get hit. And you can see there, I kind of like mistimed it there. I jumped before it reached to the middle. And if you jump as it's going out already, it's also a bad idea. So you really have to jump as soon as it reaches the middle. And you'll see in the following like attempts that I make here, and you'll see exactly what I mean by jumping at the right time. So we're going to go ahead and continue this one. And he's going to teleport. And he is going to teleport right where you are. So what you want to do is you want to kind of line up. Ideally, you want to be over here where I am. And you'll see me do it in the other attempts in this video. Because you want it to go straight down the line. Now, this isn't something that you can Q block. So you're going to have to dodge roll this. Time it a little bit. And what's going to happen is, if you manage to dodge roll it, unlike me here, I didn't manage to dodge roll it, so I do get paralyzed. But if he destroys the 3 totems that he put down, he will also get paralyzed. So that's free DPS for you if you manage to dodge roll it. And after he gets rid of the stun, he's going to teleport back to the middle and he's going to do damage. The more totems that he has out, the more damage he's going to do. And after a certain amount of totems, he's just going to one-shot you. And that's exactly why you want to keep the minimum amount of totems as possible. And you can see here, he's going to do his little skill. He's going to smash it on the ground. It's not really going to do a lot of damage because there are no totems on the ground. And again, you can see he puts down a random totem. You can see me try to line it up as much as possible here. Second totem is down. And then, as always, after the second totem, he's going to teleport and he's going to do this again. It's going to be another Q block. You just have to Q block it. No problem. Right? Q block it and try to line it up again here. DPS as much as you can. Right? Try to dodge these a little bit if you can. And he's going to put down another totem there. See, all lined up. And you can see it now. It's going into the middle. As soon as it's in the middle, you'll see me jump over here. And even though the visual technically hit me, because I jumped as soon as it reached the middle, I actually did not get hit here. And that is the third one. So you're gonna be DPSing a little bit here while he's trying to wait for the moment that he can charge up to you. Right? A little bit of DPS, a little bit of like left and right there. Fancy feet. Try to stay in this general direction, right? And he's going to do a little bit of teleporting again here, right? And he's going to land right on top of me. The reason why I ask you to pick up the movement speed as a tank is because maybe, unless you have a movement speed build with you, you could use the movement speed so you can run all the way back here to the front, wait for him to shoot, Q roll a little bit, perfect dodge, deletes all of the totems, he gets CC'd, and you get to free DPS him again. And this is basically the rest of the fight. That's it. That's all you have to do. The only other variation that you're going to meet in this fight is, and the best tip that I can give you here is try to maintain a little bit more distance from the totems as you go along, because right around when you reach, I believe it's right around the 50% mark of his HP, he'll drop totems that has like a little bit of an AoE around it, and they do hurt. They hurt even for tanks, so they definitely will hurt for DPS or healers, right? And I'll show you a visual of that in a little bit here. And the reason why and what you want to do in that situation is that once you get to that point, you want to kind of back off away from the totems a little bit, right? Once the totem goes up, you want to back up a little bit, just maintain a little bit of distance. And I'll show you the visual on that so you can avoid taking the damage and ruining your run, right? In the middle of it. And here you can see he's below 50% already. And here I show you just like as an example is he's going to put up a totem and it's going to have AoE. And you'll notice here, jumping down, and you'll notice that the third totem there, you can see that little circle there. This is going to hurt. And as you can see here in a little bit, it will be enough to kill even a fully geared T1 tank. You can see that? Boom. There you go. So that little bit of space, just try to maintain a little bit of distance from that. That's around maybe like 4 meters away from the totem. And you can just like back up a little bit here. And that's basically it. That's really all the variation that he does in this fight. And all it is rinse and repeat. As soon as you get it down, maybe you'll fail like a couple times. But once it becomes muscle memory, you can get this down incredibly fast and incredibly easy. Take advantage of this. This is, again, a situation just like launch, where things can be sold for expensive prices. All right. Hopefully they help you guys. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Again, I stream on twitch.tv/littlefattygg. And I'll see you guys there. All right, boys. Peace.